Hi, welcome to a quick guide for map building with Dungeon Full Dive. I'm Mattis from TXK Games, and this is how I use Dungeon Full Dive's map creation tools to create immersive experiences for my own D&D campaigns. Let's get into it. My goal with this map is to create an area for an old ruin the players get to explore, and a goblin ambush to go with it. To get started, let's get into my maps here and create a map. Give it a name, and now we have a few templates here to choose from. I'm going to be starting with a flat grass plain, but you could also take any other existing map and use that as a starting point. To get started on Terrain, I first go into map editing up here, and then into the Terrain section. I imagine the ruins alongside a pass and some highlands, so let's add some hills first. I'm going to be using this textured brush in order to create some quick hills which serve as our base. I'll use this smooth round brush in conjunction with the smooth terrain option to smooth out my hills a bit. This should create a nicer look. I don't want my players to fight on too uneven a ground, so I'm using the set height function to flatten my terrain and create clear distinctions in height, which allow for more readable battlefield. I'll also make sure all my pathways are even enough to allow for smooth traversal. As a general rule of thumb, it's always good to have some flat elements in your maps. It makes building much easier later on. Once I'm happy with my terrain, and don't worry, we can always change things later, I'm going to hit the Terrain Auto Textures button to get some more accurate textures. That's better. In order to create lakes and rivers, I simply lower the terrain below the sea level. That should provide some scenery to make the trek worth it. I'll also auto-generate terrain again to get these blended in. Now with all the textures in place, I'm going to custom paint some roads and finer detail where I deem it necessary. Be careful though, any future auto-generation of textures will get rid of your custom painted detail, so best to leave the paint job till the end. Now that we have an environment, let's fill it with things to give it life. I'm selecting objects in my asset browser and can click to place them. With the Q and E buttons, I can rotate them at will, and even force them upright by pressing Shift or setting the height to a specific value by pressing Ctrl. If you want to change the size of an object, simply place it, select it again, and change its size. I can now even duplicate it in order to more easily paint more versions of the object with the size I want to use. To build the ruins, I'm using some partially destroyed walls. I simply place some to get a feel for the construction. I don't have a clear plan here, but just go along as I go. This is already coming along nicely. I'm already thinking about where the players likely come from and how combat in this area could work. So I make sure to create plenty of opportunities for the players or enemies to get advantages. Some cover here, some elevated pieces they might get to there, and last but not least, for the ruin, I'm adding some treasure for the players to find. It's best to start building your map by focusing on its standout elements first, in our case the ruin. But now that we have it in place, let's add some more things to discover in order to really make this map shine. Maybe the goblins have a nearby camp the players can discover, or maybe there's a tavern at the end of the road for the players to get some rest. The possibilities are endless. I'm noticing that there isn't really much space for a goblin camp up here, so I'm adding some more terrain in this corner to make space for the camp. I make sure to not auto-generate textures again, and instead just hand paint a bit of grass and dirt in here. notice that even with all those things, our map is still looking a bit empty. Trees and bushes will help populate the area and really make it feel alive. I'm planting a bunch of trees, making sure to keep the rotation and size different in order for them to not feel samey. I'm also using different rocks to mold pathways and create some nice detail. Maybe we can even add some foliage to the ruins. They are ancient after all. As a last step, I'm going to scatter some grass patches and flowers, just for that extra level of detail. For this map, it isn't hugely important, but designing the inside of homes can make all the difference. In order to really fine-tune the interior, you can disable the roof of houses or even the upper floors in order to effortlessly fill them with stuff. To quickly get an already furnished house, however, you can always just use the houses with the fill tag right here. These come with everything you expect already inside. Handy. Now for the fun part. Spreading all the enemies that so graciously offer themselves up to become XP points in the near future. From the miniature tab, same as with the assets, you can select minis and place them into the world. As usual, you can rotate them as well. By selecting them and opening the character sheet, you can fine-tune their stats. Maybe this goblin right here is their chief. So I'm going to open up their character sheet, change their name, and give them a bit more strength and HP. This should make them a bit stronger and act as a priority target for our players. I'm also going to take this opportunity to rename all the other goblins and give them generic names. This will make planning combat later on much easier. By placing the standard you can find under the Tools category, you can determine where the players will be spawned on the map. I'm going to place it right here in the space camp. You can also grab fog of war boxes here, or particle effects. I'm going to use one of them to light the bonfire in the middle of these ruins. As a last change, I'm going to change the time of day to a more gloomy and moody setting with lots of fog. Just look at what difference this change makes. I'm going to miss the sun, but this weather is sure to keep my players in suspense. We can also always check how the map is looking from the player's perspective by simply entering full dive mode. Moving around like this gets you a much better grasp at how this map will feel when being played. To save the map, simply go to your map building and press the save button. Give your map a fitting name and a small description if you like, and either overwrite a map or press the plus button to save it as a new one. In order for other players to find it online though, we need to publish the map. In order to do that, we visit the map in the map building category of the main menu. In here, we simply select our map and press the publish button. That's it. Now this map is ready to be explored by my players. I hope to have shown you a glimpse into what's possible with the tools provided by Dungeon Full Dive. For more info, head to our Discord or follow our socials to get the latest updates. Happy map building!